Hey guys, welcome back. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Andrina and I tell true crime stories. And today I'm going to be telling the case of Timothy Ray Jones Jr. Warning, viewer discretion is advised. Timothy Ray Jr. admitted to killing his 5 young children and was indicted on 5 counts of murder. He was convicted by a jury and sentenced to death. His background summarizes the details surrounding the murders and Jones' actions in the succeeding days. Jones and his wife were divorced and had 5 children. They had an informal joint custody agreement, with Jones being the children's primary caretaker. Throughout the day of August 28, 2014, Jones smoked spice, a form of synthetic marijuana, at work to cope with his stress of impending project. Jones left work in the late afternoon and went to his home in Lexington County. He smoked more spice before leaving home to pick up his children. Abigail, age 1, Gabriel, age 2, were staying at a neighbor's house, and Natan, age 6, Elias, age 7, and Mira, age 8, were participating in an after-school program. Jones retrieved the children and purchased takeout from a local restaurant. After Jones and the children returned home with their supper, Jones discovered an electrical outlet in the house that wasn't working. He accused Natan of tampering with the outlet because Natan had an unusual interest in electricity. To get Natan to admit he played with the outlet, Jones forced Natan to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 200 squats, all in sets of 10. Natan never admitted to playing with the outlet, but Jones later heard Natan telling his mother over the phone, "It was an accident, Mommy." Enraged, Jones sent Natan to bed. Later that night, Jones went back to check on Natan. He shook Natan by the shoulders again and demanded to know what happened to the outlet. Natan collapsed to the floor. Jones told Elias and Mira he thought Natan was dead, and Mira confirmed Natan was not breathing. Jones then searched the internet for violent male-on-male rape scenes from the movie American History X and began to fear the things that he would endure in prison as a baby killer. Approximately at 2 a.m., Jones took Mira with him to purchase 10 packs of cigarettes at a nearby convenience store. Jones claims on the way home he heard voices in his head telling him to kill his other 4 children because they would be better off in heaven than without their parents. When Jones and Mira returned home, Mira went to bed. Jones smoked 2 bowls of spice, walked into the living room where Elias and Mira were sleeping. Jones wrapped his hands around Elias' neck, strangled him to death, while Elias begged, "Daddy, take me with you." Jones then turned to Mira, who pleaded, "Daddy, I love you," and strangled her to death. Jones proceeded to strangle Abigail and Gabriel to death using a belt because his hands were too big to wrap around their tiny necks. Jones next tried to kill himself by smoking 7 or 8 bowls of spice. He woke up the following day and became paranoid, thinking it was just a matter of time before he was arrested. Jones decided to go to Las Vegas. He wrapped each of the 5 bodies in bed sheets and stacked them in the back seat of his Cadillac Escalade. For the next 8 days, Jones kept the bodies in his vehicle and drove back and forth through South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. At various points along the way, Jones purchased spice, trash bags, chemicals, goggles, a dust mask, and a jab saw. During the trip, he searched online for applicable extradition laws in local dump sites, landfills, and campgrounds. On September 6, 8 days after the murder, Jones placed his children in trash bags and dumped them in a rural area near Pineapple, Alabama. Later that day, Jones was stopped at a safety checkpoint in Smith County, Mississippi. Officers Charles Johns testified as Jones approached to the checkpoint. He smelled a strong odor of burnt marijuana and garbage coming from the vehicle. The officer noticed that Jones' eyes were red and glassy and his speech was slurred. The officer asked Jones to pull to the side of the road. Jones consented to a search of his vehicle, which revealed bleach stains on the floorboard, synthetic marijuana, drug paraphernalia, bleach, uric acid, charcoal fluid, and a scribbled note reading in part, "Head to the campground, melt bodies, sand to dust or small pieces," and Day 1, burn up the bodies, Day 2, sand down bones, Day 3, Mexican border, dissolve and discard. Jones was arrested for driving under the influence, possession of controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. A dispatcher advised the officers of a hit on Jones' vehicle for 5 missing children. Jones confessed to the murders soon after his arrest on September 9th, 11 days after the murder. 11 days after the murder, Jones led the officers to the children's bodies. The bodies were in trash bags and the children's were unrecognizable due to severe decomposition and animal activity. Jones was extradited from Mississippi to South Carolina, where he was indicted for 5 counts of murder. The state sought for the death penalty, claiming the following aggravating circumstances applied. 1. Murder of the 2 or more persons by one act or pursuant to one to scheme or course of conduct. And 2. The murder of a child 11 years of age or under. Jones entered a plea of not guilty by reasons of insanity. The jury rejected the insanity defense, returned to the 5 guilty verdicts, and recommended the death sentence. The trial court adopted the jury's recommendation and sentenced Jones to death. One of the former investigators gave a recollection of the scene in Alabama where they found the children. The caravan turned to a dirt road and drove about 40 to 50 yards down the road to a clearing that looked like it was a former logging site. The bodies were found 100 to 150 yards further in. Jones pointed out the direction of the bodies located in a brush. The photos that were shown to the jury would show that animals had gotten into Mira's bag, and in one of the bags was bedding and quilts that covered the bodies so that the bag had been completely opened. Gabriel was inside. Natan's bag had more bedding and had to be opened. Elias's bag and body showed sign of animal activity. The body was clothed in Saks Gotha t-shirt. Mira's bag and body showed signs of animal activity. Left arm missing. The body was in a sleeping bag. In bedding, the body was unclothed. Gabriel's body was face down with knees beneath, foot facing the wrong direction, and it was shoved in the bag. The boy was dressed in a large t-shirt. In the bag was a girl's slipper, Hello Kitty journal, a used diaper, ligature marks evident on a boy's neck. Abigail Elaine's body was wrapped in sheets, wearing a portion of a diaper. Natan's body was wrapped in a Ninja Turtle comforter, unclothed. The boy's elbow showed signs of injury. Exposed bone on the knee shows signs of sawing. Cause of death for Elias was strangulation. Mira, homicidal violence. Gabriel, homicidal violence. Probable strangulation. Abigail Elaine, homicidal violence. Natan, homicidal violence. Alrighty guys, these are all the children. We have Mira. She was going to first grade and was said that she was a very sweet, friendly young lady who was making academic strides in her 2nd grade year. She was the highest academic progress in math in her grade. Elias was going to kindergarten. The oldest boy was a bit mischievous. Natan came a year later, very active and busy. And all the children were friendly and loving. So guys, this was one of those stories that is just hard to tell, but I need to again be told. Their father was supposedly someone who was very smart in technology and just had all the right things, I guess, going for him, and then he did this. So he apparently was trying to think of a way how to get away with these murders. Obviously, we have the breakdown that he was going to run down to Mexico and dissolve the bodies and everything he was going to do. And then the other was to try to plead the insanity case. He was trying to pretend that he was going insane, saying that he heard all these voices when he was not. He legit thought these murders step by step. So I'm glad that the jury was able to see through that and they were able to give some sort of justice to these babies. Like I said, there's no amount of justice that can ever bring a life back, and these were 5 little babies that were lost. This was very hard on the mother. The mother is just seen breaking down on the stand, and I can't imagine being in her shoes. I just can't. But let me know what you guys think of this case. This case was very brutal. The dad abused the older son to like punishments of like extreme exercises, as you heard earlier. I can't imagine a kid his age just working him out pretty much to almost to death. Remember to always take care, guys. I love you guys. Remember to always make good choices, and I'll catch you guys on my next one. Bye. Love you guys.